Hey, it's Greg here with Outdoors on the Cheap, and I'm in the woods again looking for rabbit tracks and also trying to find a river that's deep in the woods in that direction. I did a video, I don't know, a few weeks ago where I was kind of doing the same thing in the same basic location. I'm trying a different angle of approach this time. I went back and consulted the maps. I don't know if the way I was going was the most direct route. So I'm trying this out, see how far I can get. I'm not even bothering marking anything today, I'm just using my compass. And I'm kind of different than a lot of people who use their GPS and that sort of thing. I just like to keep it simple and old school. I'm going 300 degrees that way. It's basically northwest, right? And if I don't, well, eventually I'm going to turn around and go the opposite way to get back out. Pretty low tech. And today there's snow on the ground, so it's also that much easier to find your way out because you can follow your tracks. But that being said, you should always bring a compass and always bring a backup compass, which I've done, and a phone and all your other gear, lighter, knife, right, all that sort of stuff, right? Anyway, let's go a little bit further and I'll show you what I see. Here we go. Well, here we got our first signs of life. Some nice deer tracks, not rabbit tracks, but definitely good fresh deer tracks. I've seen some older ones already, right? I'm only in a quarter kilometer, so yeah, I've seen some older ones, but these ones are quite fresh. And this snow isn't that old. I mean, this snow came down like last night, right? So yeah, got some deer tracks anyway. No rabbit tracks yet. We'll see what we can find. All right, so this is where the last video where I was doing this sort of thing, this is roughly where I was, somewhere along this ravine where I sort of gave up and turned around. So because I also was coming out, I had a cold or something like that. I wasn't feeling 100%. So anyway, I can tell that it stops going down when we get down there. And I think the river is down there where it's, because it goes down and it goes back up. I think the river's down there. But boy, this is rough country, right? Doesn't look like much, but you get these, 6-foot high trees, really thick, can't see where you're going, snow everywhere. It's less than ideal for hiking. But anyway, today I'm gonna punch through that. Yeah, I'm gonna see where we can get, see what's down there, see if the river's at the bottom of this hill anyway. All right, so I certainly have enough daylight to do that today. I'm out in the afternoon, but I'm pretty sure I can make this happen. So let's punch through this and see what we can do. I gotta put the camera away because the probability of falling down through falling down, it's fairly steep. Let's say 30 degrees, maybe 25, right? But just because you can't see where you're walking with all the snow and the little trees and all that. Anyway, off we go. So I'm just working my way down the hill through this rough country, and boy, it's just all tipped over trees and 6-foot high spruce trees. But I could hear water underneath my feet, and I came out in this spot here where you can see this is a big tree that tipped over, and now you can see the rocks underneath the tree and this really clean I assume it's clean because it's coming out of the side of a hill, running water, right? Anyway, I mean, things are frozen, but yeah, it's kind of weird walking over something you can hear moving like this. Yeah, I'd show you that. You can hear it everywhere here. Probably not a bad idea to just follow. I'm sure this running water leads to where I'm going. And actually over here, it looks like it opens up a bit. So I'm gonna work my way over to that after I get around all this crap and see. I mean, the thing about this is that the way I've come in is definitely not, if there is a river down there somewhere, and I fished the other end of it kilometers down that way, and there's trout in it, and it isn't one of these rivers that's been messed up by people putting bass in it. So it's basically a nice sort of, pre-1990s, pre-1980s Nova Scotia River, which they all just were speckled trout rivers back then, right? In the old days. Anyway, if it is down there and it's not so far, I have to make a decent walking trail to get from the road to that river, because I certainly don't want to come through this in May, April, June. Just no way. It's not so bad in the winter when everything's frozen up. I definitely don't want that. Anyway, let's keep going. Enough talking. Let's get back to work here and get back into the rough stuff. I'm almost through it. It looks like it opens up over there a little bit. Boy, it never ceases to amaze me. This river, according to the map, according to Google Earth, is 0.67 kilometers from where I parked. I have been walking for half an hour in as straight a line as I can make with a compass going through. I mean, this isn't bad right here, but everywhere where it opens up, where all the trees, I mean, where I live, this part of the province is very windy. So periodically all the trees blow down, and then you've got all this new stuff and all these tipped, like you see in front of me, all these tipped over trees, which are basically impassable. So you got to keep going around these sorts of things, right? But yeah, there's no river here, but it has to be over there. You know, I just can't believe. And I mean, I'm going downhill. This is the easy part. Getting out of here, I got to go all uphill, and I've already gone downhill a lot. I mean, there's no way. Because how long does it take to walk 3/4 of a kilometer? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? On the street, right? 15 minutes if you're out of shape, less than 10 minutes if you're in great shape, right? So, you know, I just find it amazing how it's a completely different equation when you're busting through stuff like this, how much more time it takes to go short distances, right? Even if I find this river, I mean, if I walk far enough in this direction, I'm sure I'll cross it. But then, for it to be useful for fishing, I gotta figure out a reasonable way to get in and out of here. Because, I mean, this is a completely different proposition in spring, when there's leaves everywhere, and mosquitoes and black flies and horse flies and all that other stuff, right? Anyway, I'm gonna keep going this way, see what I can see. All right, well, I finally got to the bottom of that hill. Unbelievably rough terrain. I mean, just unbelievably rough terrain. I'm so glad I had the walking stick with me, especially all alone like this, right? Even if I found someone, I don't know how the hell they'd carry me out of here. I mean, you have to be chopping out of this. You'd need like Arnold Schwarzenegger to carry you out of this. Anyway, I am at a point where I have a feeling that the river is right over here. How can I tell that? And I could be wrong. I thought I'd have the experience with you. But look how the ecology changes. I mean, already this part of the forest, on the slope, it was all spruce. Now it's a mixture of spruce and maple, and it's flat. And there's these sort of grasses and things like that. Very different ecology. And look here now. It's all sort of chest-high bushes. Completely different ecology. Completely different ecology. Right, and completely flat. And if you can't see it already now, I can see the river actually. Now hopefully I can get to this without getting an amazing soaker, which is not what I want. Hard to know where. Yeah, that's that's over the boots right there. That is the river for sure. You see it. Yeah, I can see it over there. I don't know if you're overexposed. I can see a duck, a couple ducks on the river. It is a big, beautiful, still water. And based on the difficulty involved in getting in here, ain't nobody fishing it. And because I fished the very far end, south that way, and caught trout, I know it's got trout. So it's big, it's slow, and there's trout in it. And it's right here. It's just a question of finding, and you can't see it in this direction. Let's walk this way a little bit. Maybe I can get to the water's edge. Just afraid of getting a soaker, because I hate to have to hike out with that. And ordinarily, I was going in for the day, I would actually bring a spare pair of socks. It's always a good idea, but I didn't do that today because I just had, a few hours this afternoon to sneak out into the wilderness, right? Thankfully, the wilderness is just a short drive. I had to drive to this spot, but it wasn't far. Let's see if I can get, I'm walking on the sort of high tufts here, hoping I can get to the water's edge without swamping me boots. Also, I want to just look downstream. There's some point of this where the water comes in, and that's usually the best place to fish. I'd like to see how far I am from that spot. All right. Ooh, geez, that's a bit frozen there. You can see the waves I made just from stepping on the ice there. So anyway, the river's not frozen for sure. Moving water, and it just hasn't been that cold. So I guess, you know, we've had some cold days, but you can see a bit of ice over there. But this is not where the fast water meets the slow water. It must be up that way, maybe a quarter click or so. Not quite sure how far that way I gotta go. But that's the spot I'm really interested in checking out. And I'm sure there's trout to be had all along the still water because it's got good holding capacity. Nice and deep. Probably lots of nice things to eat. I know there's lots of minnows in this river because I've caught them and used them for bait. Anyway, I'm going to kill the camera and just walk upstream. Go back to the tree line, go upstream a little bit, see how far I am from that, you know, where the rapids meet the still water. All right, so we'll see you in a little bit here. Okay, well, I've got a little more upstream. I'm still not at the headwater here, whatever you call that, where the fast water meets the slow water. But I've come across a suspiciously walkable trail. This is so walkable, it's hard to believe it's anything other than a man trail. It just looks too comfortable. Further evidence. It appears to be a bench that's been here quite some time, but something resembling a, see how rotten it is. Yeah, something resembling a bench here at this nice spot. I can hear over in the distance I'm pretty sure I can hear the water coming in, so I know I'm pretty close to the top of this system. Now, I don't know, I'm going to follow this walkable trail. I mean, if it just appears and then disappears for no reason, that is par for the course. Following trails in Nova Scotia, they do just disappear. You'll come across a trail that looks very purposely built by someone, and then it just seems to vanish into nothing. So yeah, that is definitely, I can see over there, I can see the moving water. So that is definitely where the water comes into this system, for sure. Holy smokes. I don't know if I can walk on this or not. I'm right next to the water here. What a place to stash a canoe. Over there, I don't know if you can see that. There's a pop bottle someone's put on top of a tree. All right, so this place is not a mystery. People have been in here. But that might mean, so on the one side, it might mean it gets a bit more action than I'd like. On the other side, I know this is not like an easy, you can't just drive up to this. Yeah, so either there's an ATV trail going directly to this and it's, you know, gets a lot of action, or there's just the little nothing trail that some guy like me cut and it hardly fished at all. Who really knows? I'm gonna make my way over to that over there just to see what, I'm gonna see if I can sort of follow whatever this, it's the trail that seems to have disappeared, but perhaps I can pick up another something, some kind of trail. It seemed really odd. There was a bench and what seemed like a trail, and it went about 25 yards and stopped. So I don't get that. Maybe that's a little camp spot that someone has set up. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna follow because there's definitely a pop bottle over there. So, you know, maybe there's a way out of this, and I do not have to go back the way I came, because I don't want to go back the way I came. And if I'm gonna go back the way I came, I gotta go soon because sunset's coming. Anyway, let's see a little bit further here. Well, it's 4 o'clock, and I mean, I'm at the river here. I haven't made it all the way to where the fast water is coming. I just did a time check and I realized it was 4 o'clock. So I got about an hour of light, give or take. And I'm not going out the way I came in. I'm sort of going out parallel to the way I came in, so it would take too much time to go back downstream along the river. So I think this will be faster. Sometimes it is. Certainly the way I came in was nothing special. It was really rough and really difficult. So fingers crossed. Can't be any worse going parallel to find the way out. We'll see if that's true. And now I just got to reverse the bearing on my compass. I went in going through 300. I think the opposite way is 120 or something like that. So I'm just going to go back the other way. It's all uphill. I don't know what's going to be left to me by the time I get out of here, but anyway, it's time to start that journey so I don't freak my wife out and get out of here before dark. It always freaks her out if I get back too late, especially when you're by yourself like this. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. A little bit of walking around, a little bit of adventuring, some new discoveries. No rabbit tracks at all, despite going through a lot of prime rabbit terrain, prime rabbit habitat. Not one pair of rabbit tracks whatsoever. But anyway, that's what I saw today. I hope you found it fun. And until next time, enjoy the outdoors on the cheap. Thanks for watching. Holy smokes, just taking a breather trying to climb my way out. I'm actually standing on a fallen tree right now, and they're just crisscrossing the path all the way up here. It's just big fallen trees in your way, and then all these little trees that you got to push through, and a lot of them are tipped over too. So it's like, and this is like a 45-degree slope here. This is definitely harder than the way I came in. I wish I'd backtracked in retrospect. This is steeper and harder. It's definitely not the right way to come in. I mean, if you had a nice trail cut through this, it'd be fine, especially on the way in. But yeah, I got a ways to go to get to the top here. This is like climbing a mountain, but there's like an army of 5-year-olds trying to push you down the mountain or hang on to you. It's just exhausting. So anyway, we'll go a little further here. Holy smokes, I gotta get my heart rate down. I'm just about through it. I can see over there some dense forest and relatively clear going. But all this is not 6-foot trees. This is like 8, 9, 10-foot trees, all in tight like this. Honestly, through all of this, I've had my hood up and I've had to put my face down, otherwise it gets snow right down my jacket. And I'm kind of going bent over and even on my hands and knees, kind of like a dog through this. It's been steep, all uphill. There's like, this is a perfect microcosm of what I've been going through. You got a chipped over tree and the ground's 3-4 feet below that. And then some of these tipped over trees like this one, maybe, see this one here? This is a tree here. So that's at least 4 feet off the ground. So maybe you walk on that and risk it breaking and you snapping an ankle on, because all below you can just see it's rocks and stuff, right? It's really rough terrain. Maybe you walk on that because it's easy walking and you just sort of hang on to the tips of the trees for balance. Maybe it breaks and you fall, or you go down low on your hands and knees and crawl underneath it. But this is, I mean, in all the ways that matter, this is inaccessible. This is just not, you'd only go through this if you had to, right? There definitely has to be a better way to the river than this. That took everything I had getting through that. Holy Moses. I had to stop periodically because my heart was beating so hard. It was, I could, hear it. And it was like, when your heart's beating really hard, you can feel your whole body sort of vibrating with it. Which, when you're 20 or 30 or even 40, that's what you call exercise and a good workout. But at 50, that could be what you call the last 5 minutes of your life. You just don't know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, I think I'm in good shape, and all the, I get checked out once a year and everything seems to be within normal parameters, that sort of thing. But You just never know, right? I worry about it more now at this age than I used to, especially when you're alone. Anyway, I think I'm through the hard part. Heart rate's come down a little bit, and still uphill, but I think I'm through the hard side. That was extremely steep, much more steep than the way I went in. So I'm going to predict that the rest of this isn't going to be as steep as the way I went in. But we'll see. But anyway, you can see the terrain I'm dealing with now. It's easy walking, all things being equal, right? It's still wild forest walking. It's not a trail, but it's way better than that. Anyway, that's the end of the epilogue. I thought I'd do an epilogue of trying to find... I went on a fishing trip this summer, and I had a tough hike in, and I had pretty good fishing when I got to the place, but the hike out, I didn't film it at all because my camera was out of battery. But the hike out was just murder. It was so bad. I was carrying trout on a stick. I lost one of them. It got ripped off the stick. You know, you poke it through the gills sort of thing. This was like that. Thank goodness it wasn't hot as well, right? Thank goodness it's like -2 Celsius as opposed to like 20 Celsius. Add heat to that equation, it gets really, really tough. And flies and, you know, ticks, right? So, anyway, that's the end of it. See you next time. Enjoy the outdoors. Bye-bye.